Salutations, Utopians. Hope all is well in your world. Action-packed day today in sports. As you all aware, there was some playoff football going on today in the NFL, and then also the NBA had quite a slot of games despite the Clippers, Lakers, Rockets, Hawks having to be canceled. Football related, first off, congratulations to the Ravens in their victory over the Pittsburgh Steelers, and also congratulations to the Houston Texans and D'Amico Ryans, who now achieved his second playoff victory as the head coach tenured with the Houston Texans, and they defeated today the LA Chargers, who put up a valiant effort. Justin Herbert did have a meltdown, 4 turnovers. People want to question him. He's still elite. He's going through growing pains. With that being said, they exceeded expectations. We know the salary cap hell that they were under, and what a gem they found in Ladd McConkey. We didn't even get to see Brendan Rice this year, which is crazy. But they just kept bringing out the best, bringing their best. Pretty cool that J.K. Dobbins lived 90 miles from where the Texans played, got to play in front of his hometown. Maybe not get the results he wanted, but it's all good. During the game, I found it interesting, however, that there was breaking news that the New England Patriots were closing in on finalizing a deal with Mike Vrabel. I know it got a lot of kickback. One moment, please. I would actually be more concerned with the Patriots had they not gotten Mike Vrabel and went with a different candidate. I know some people are like, what are you talking about? Well, let's get to it. As you all know, it starts with Mike Vrabel's tenure with the Tennessee Titans. There was a clip while he was there. I forget which draft it was, but while they were getting ready to make some picks, they got the news they were going to trade A.J. Brown, which completely debilitated any chance at being competitive. Remember, they had Derrick Henry and A.J. Brown, and so when they traded away AJ, that was kind of the beginning of the end and the undermining of the head coach. One of the biggest underminings I've ever seen. For whatever reasons, the Titans have elected to just go in a separate direction. This was at the time where wide receivers were being sold at a premium. And there was a run on the mill on wide receivers. I remember it was the same draft Jamal was in. And, Brad Holmes had to trade up. Even giving up like a second-round pick just to get up a couple slots, and he took a lot of heat for that. There was still Jordan Davis on the table, defensive tackle for the Eagles, and Kyle Hamilton, all-pro safety. And he went with Jamal and Jaw Gibbs, and now it's paying dividends. With that being said, it was kind of the beginning of the end for the Titans. And in that final year, as they were winding down, he snapped on local media. I don't know if that had any reason why he got passed on in the last coaching circle, but the Patriots were moving off Bill Belichick and his amazing run, legendary run with them, and they went and got Jerod Mayo. In that same time, Mike Vrabel, as I alluded to earlier, did not get hired in that coaching carousel and in that round of hirings, and so he went to be a consultant with the Cleveland Browns, where it gets interesting because a lot of people keep bringing up it's New England, it's racism, this and that. I don't think people realize when Mike Vrabel first retired, he had to end his career early than expected. Bill Belichick offered him a job on the coaching staff, and he elected not to. Instead, he went to go take on corporate America. He flew up the ranks working for a Fortune 500 company that specialized in financing. So when he conquered that, so to speak, he needed a new challenge. He went back to football. That's when he decided to take a position coach with the Patriots, and shortly after became a head coach very fast. Where it gets interesting is that his contract was tied for 18th most. Now, obviously, Cleveland Browns money and New England Patriots money is different because the Patriots, last I checked, were a top 3 franchise in terms of fan base spending money, along with Green Bay and Dallas. And Cleveland is obviously, a little less of a market, even though it has one of the fastest housing markets in the United States, growing fast housing markets. But so what Stefanski's getting is he's a two-time coach of the year, and they started Jerod Mayo off at that pay scale. So, ironically, with that is Mike Vrabel was in Cleveland as a consultant while Stefanski, the two-time coach of the year, was there this last year. Bit of a coincidence, whatever you want to make it. Again, I'm only pointing this out because everyone keeps claiming that he was done wrong and this and that. And what I don't like is when people falsely accuse people of things without having all the information. And there's been some serious things said that I feel like is unfair and unwarranted without real proof. They're saying that they discriminate on Jerod Mayo. They didn't show him any patience, but what if they had an agreement that he was only there for 1 year, and if he gets them through that 1 year, that they will pay him, they'll buy him out at the contract terms of whatever he was getting up front, just to get him through that 1 year, because they are very far off from having a team. They did have $79 million on top of that and did not spend barely any of it. Their lone prize splurge was a dual threat running back from the Washington Commanders, Antonio Gibbs. So to me, when I see this all unfold and I'm listening to people talk about it, it's like you don't pay a first-year guy the same amount as the two-time coach of the year, and for no reason, And so it's unfortunate because we already know what the connotation is under the underlying commentary about what it's like in that New England, Boston market, and for people to say this stuff irresponsibly. Furthermore, when you had a guy say things like the team is soft, doesn't sound like the communication of someone who plans to be there long term. Remind you that Antonio Pierce had a similar meltdown after the Carolina game, saying that guys were making a business decision, which forced the Raiders' hand, who I don't think they really wanted to trade Devontae Adams, but were left with no choice, leaving Brock Bowers as the sole beneficiary, don't get me wrong, one moment. But yet he was still left to fend for himself. They have Amir Abdullah at the RB1 at the moment, just to show you, and they've been switching through quarterbacks 3 or 4 different times. I'm sure they would have loved to go into the offseason. As you all know, it was Antonio Pierce who did want to go after Jaden Daniels. The Raiders elected to go a different direction or route for whatever reason, and obviously that proved to be costly. Now, so, and ironically, going back to Tennessee, they fired the GM this offseason, another franchise and organization that people were saying did him wrong when he had a full, he got Vaughn from the Cowboys. They paid him the same amount of money that Saquon and Derrick Henry got. Joe Mixon, mind you, he's not an impactful enough player to get that. I even made a post in week 15 that the Cowboys were better off just getting Ezekiel Elliott, because Vaughn is not a very polished, Vaughn is not much of a dropper. They have the identical statistics. Then they also spent the most money for vertical threat this offseason by paying Calvin Ridley $94 million. So it's not like he didn't have a blank checkbook, same way Hoodie had one at one point. And so to me, I just think the narrative is a little reckless. I'm happy Vrabel's in New England. I would be more concerned if he wasn't. Then I would feel like something's wrong in New England. But just to, wave certain theories like that because, we know what the Boston area is known for, or people say so, at least in years past. I don't think there's that much wrongdoing. And I think the climate we're in, it can be very inflammatory. So I felt the need to point out some things, just, pondering while I was watching the game. But all in all, if in fact Vrabel gets hired, that's a great hire. I think Jerod Mayo will have another chance somewhere. I don't know where, probably on a collegiate level. Antonio Pierce was a TV guy at one point, so and he has charisma. Unfortunately, in Oakland or with Vegas, they didn't have that same enthusiasm. The team I don't think he was going to make it past last year, but they were so happy that first year, even though they only got one win, there was so much camaraderie. Of course, how do you not roll with it? But obviously the energy and the vibes changed on the Raiders, and they had to switch things up, and now they're rumored to be interviewing Pete Carroll on Tuesday. Rightfully so. They need something more positive, someone to get them on stable ground. But, at the end of the day, you look at what's going on, and it's like, well, the Patriots did what they were supposed to do. And, I think Jerod Mayo is getting a payday that he probably missed out on from his career ending early. That's just my thing. All I'm saying is we don't know what the real story is to be making such a large accusation. And so I just wanted to point some things out. All right, Utopians, I try to do better next time. Hope this was insightful. Global out.